Africa, Nigeria, and of course, my very own Lagos. A special welcome to Ways Breakfast, hashtag What Are You Saying? Of course, it's Friday, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank God it's Friday, TGIF. Well, in the spirit of celebrating another work week successfully conquered, I want to say you are all amazing. Thank you for staying strong throughout this week. Thank you for also showing us and reaffirming to us that we're always on the right track with the conversations that we bring to you every day. You already know coming here every day to you, our valued viewers, is something I look forward to. And now I wake up to over 45,000 of you over and over again. I see the numbers increasing, and I'm so grateful for that. On this show, we bring to you the best conversations that shape our future, from politics to governance, leadership, everything health. We discuss technology-driven innovations and solutions, finance, and of course, trending issues are not left out. Piloting you this sweet morning is I, Okikiola Taiwo Jalukwa. And of course, I'm sharing the table with my best girls, God's Beauty Israel and Oluchi Precious Omenka. Fortunately, let me not say unfortunately, fortunately, Oluchi is a bit under the weather, so she's going to be taking her own table at home to listen to us and join the conversation. So good morning, God's Beauty.
Good morning, okay.
How are you feeling
How are
today?
You? Beautiful.
The end of another work week.
Honestly.
When I woke up this morning, I was like, Friday, finally. But it's like 2 days is still never enough to resume another work week. And it's funny how Sunday is a new week, but Sunday seems like a rest day.
Bless.
It's very confusing. We need to do something about this thing. And I went to a program where they were talking about electoral reforms and some of the things that they should implement. And there was this Muslim Society of Nigeria coming to talk about why Friday should also be a work-free day. Because as he explained that according to the ancient Greek, Saturday was for, like, I think Pentecostal or something, and Sundays were for Christians, and the major days, which was Friday, that's the popular Juma, which is for the Muslims. It's not practiced. It's still a full work week. That's so they're advocating that, you know, Friday should be a full work week. And for some reasons, everybody in the room started giving them.
Of course, they will agree.
And I was like. When this one was coming out, people, when they heard Muslim Society of Nigeria, they're like, what do they want to come and say now? And when they said work week, everyone like, yeah! So it was so funny to see that Nigerians, sometimes we are here, sometimes we are there. We always... I saw one post also where they were talking about us being selective sinners, right? Where it's like we choose the one that's comfortable for us, and then we now start to judge the ones that are not comfortable for us and say that this one is the bad one. Well, that's a crazy one. And I feel like, yes, I agree with the Muslim Society of Nigeria. Friday should also be a work-free day so that we can have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Of course, I would also hear from Oluchi. Oluchi, baby girl, how you doing?
Hi guys, good morning.
Hi, Precious. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. From your voice, we can tell you're under the weather. I hope you're feeling better.
Honestly, I don't even know what is really going on. I just feel a lot of things at once. But I'll be fine. Thank you for reaching out, and let's have a great show.
Yes, absolutely. Well, if you are tuning in for the first time, you have met the girls, and this is how we do it on Ways Breakfast, hashtag what are you saying. Remember, you're always going to be the main ingredient in all our conversations. Fridays are usually about conversations that concerns Nigerians, and this is one of it. We always have a lot of blend of what Friday means to us. But today, we're talking about Nigeria. We're talking about us. We're talking about everything that concerns us at this point. Our phone lines are also open to you. You can call us on 070-2500-7749 or 070-1424-20. If you are yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please subscribe. Join the mighty people and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Like and share this link. Tune into channel 145 on your Go TV and do not miss this. As you know, today in history is our own way of increasing your wealth of knowledge. So we'll go on a break right now and we'll return with our top stories making the headlines around the globe. Please stay tuned. A beautiful welcome back to Ways Breakfast. Now let's take a look at what's making the headlines today. Today we'll be highlighting the top stories from the pages of The Punch, The Guardian, and of course the international paper. As always, I would love God's beauty to always take us abroad before we come back home, because home is home. God's beauty.
All right, straight into the New York Times newspaper. At the top right, we have Trump laws imperils care for 1.5 million in New York. And at the middle left, in Texas Hill Country, rivers bring magnetic aloha and danger. Middle right, we have measles cases at high in the United States, raising alarm. Bottom left, Marx's ex-chief announces exit after 2 years. Bottom center, right-wing bullhorn has only ear that matters. Bottom right, which is the last headline on the newspaper, we have private equity takes the field in youth sports. So the headline I'll be taking on today is more like a follow-up, you know, to the conversation on measles and what is really going on in the United States. So the first time measles, you know, literally came out on the newspaper, right, that there was a outbreak. And as at that time, I remember saying that, I mean, given that we have, you know, a new health secretary, that's RFK Jr., right, that's John Kennedy, if I'm not mistaken. So I remember when we had him, you know, on point and, you know, his take on vaccine and all of that. I literally said that I hope that they will take care of the whole measles thing, given first of it's United States you're talking about. You're not talking about any, you know, random country or, you know, a country that is yet to even put their foot on the ground. This one, their foot already on the ground. So I'm expecting that a case like measles will be taken care of, you know, without us having to talk about it again. But it's unfortunate how we're, you know, having a conversation again. It actually means that the right precautions, you know, the necessary things that, you know, they're supposed to have been done have not been done. So I really don't know what's going on. You know how it is now. Of course, should jump in the leg and say, "Okay, what's going on?" I mean, given that you have this, you know, in the country, something like measles should be taken very serious or should be taken care of. This is, I think it's up to a month now that, you know, we're having this conversation, and the fact that it's been brought back, like I said, it just means that there have not been any intentional, you know, check on what's going on, how it can be, you know, it can be taken care of. And given that we also have the health secretary that has just been appointed, I'm also confused as to why exactly we're still having a case like measles still happen. Measles is something that, you know, it's not like a new disease. It's something that we've heard of over time. So why exactly are we still hearing the outbreak, and why, you know, there's still like a rise alarm? Like, it's crazy to me. I'm just wondering what exactly is going on. So I just hope that, you know, they take, now that it's in the newspaper, I think they take, you know, precaution and ensure that this doesn't spread across. We should not start having a pandemic because of measles. So it's definitely going to be a very funny one. Why exactly be having a pandemic because of it? So I just hope that, you know, they take the necessary precaution. And that's why I'm calling out Trump and the health secretary. That's all I have for you on the New York Times today.
I don't know. When you were reading that story and you were explaining with such passion, I don't know why I was happy. Not like happy for... I was happy that they don't have solution, and I don't know if that makes me a bad person. But then it's like God shall share problem, give everybody. Right. As Nigeria is facing their own problem, US is also facing their own problem, and I like that this sort of puts the United States in a very vulnerable, you know, light, stating that it happens. The hale and mighty sometimes can be brought down by simple things that look like, oh, this should be sorted, this should be taken care of, this should not be a big deal. But here we have it being a big deal for over a month, and they have still not been able to find solutions. So I guess we Nigerians handle things better. I want to believe so. Oh. Oluchi, do you have something to say about this story that God's Beauty, you know, highlighted?
Hi. So I think firstly, your claim with this story just further proves what I was saying yesterday to God's Beauty. How that we feel some sort of happiness or fulfillment when other people that we look up to are going through something similar or worse. Makes us feel like we're not the only ones there. So Kiki has further proved that theory. But taking you through the Punch newspaper, the major headline reads, Autonomy Standoff. Governors get 4.5 trillion naira local government funds 1 year after Supreme Court ruling. Local government yet to open CBN account. Labour blames governors and AGF for delay. Falana and Sands accuse governors and federal government. And above that, it says Nigeria rejected US push to accept Venezuela deportees. And this is a comment from Tuga. Corrupt politicians using crypto wallets to launder money. EFCC chairman says NNPC refineries may never work. And says Dangote. Brought allies post 2015 election. That's from Jonathan. On the GTCO story, we see GTCO plans fresh expansion after London Stock Exchange listing. Igodalo angry as Tinubu and governors praise Okpebolo's court victory. 3-year-old boy dies inside Lagos Sokawe, as we call it. And the last story is the local government poll. Ballot snatching was triggered by elections, LISEC wants. Just to confirm that I have people listening to me.
Yes, of course you do.
Yes, of course you do.
All right. Yeah, so these stories have some, not so good news, a number of not so good news across. I mean, starting with this one of a young child dying, that's not a way to start our weekend, but we have that detail here. So I want to talk about this money laundering stuff for corrupt politicians. Those set of people are the ones that must never get a cover-up in that sense. All of their misdeeds must be brought to light. And the EFCC chair has now highlighted a new way to launder money. Money laundering is such that you just find a way to, how do I put it now, to put out your money in different categories so that it's not easily detected that this is fraudulent money. So this new way is quite shocking and maybe not so new. But the fact that the EFCC people are realizing this shows that probably they're not even equipped themselves to deal with it. So it says the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has raised the alarm that some corrupt Nigerian politicians are now hiding their illicit wealth in cryptocurrencies to...
I think network has Oluchi on a chokehold right now.
And detection shows now use crypto. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right. It said the agency had uncovered a growing trend where fraudulent public officials now use cryptocurrency wallets to stash stolen public funds and conduct illicit transactions. And this is, like I said, this is a very funny one. We see how technology also helps bad people in that sense. We always praise them. Our mode of living to be much better. But honestly, there's virtual asset fraud now on the rise. But the saddening thing about this is I think that EFCC do not have the intelligence and sophistication yet to really tackle crimes like this. So it's almost like, oh, this is a big one that is happening now. Because I think even in their statement, it said for the EFCC, virtual asset frauds and investment scams are not hard not to crack. That's what they are saying. But the fact that you come up here to make it look like it's looking like a very big deal is becoming worrisome. And, I think that this particular story should be followed up because there are many people to look at in this case. You're not just looking at the corrupt politicians, but also, the young guys involved in cryptocurrencies who are also aiding these people. Because I'm not sure these politicians really know so much about how crypto works. So there's always somebody in the middle that's helping them trade their coins as they do. Do you understand? So that it can increase or probably sell it, through different formats. They can't be doing these things alone. So that means I think at this point, EFCC should be looking at uncovering every detail of this crime, both those that are aiding the crime and these corrupt politicians themselves. I don't like when I see the bracket of corrupt politicians. Who are these corrupt politicians? They have a name. So if you have discovered that it's corrupt politicians, let's start bringing them to the book and let's have justice done. Basically, that's all the story that I have here. And that's one that caught my attention. I hope we'll see a follow-up in the coming week. Yeah. What are your comments?
Well, for me, I think that this cryptocurrency thing is basically old news in this state because I remember that about last 2 years, we spoke about the rise of cryptocurrency and how a lot of people are starting to invest looted money, stolen for money laundering is going through that chain. And their own markets how would I put it, marketing advert is that you can do seamless, transactions without tracking, without this, without that. And that's why a lot of people went into it. And now that the EFCC chair is now complaining about people laundering the money and stating that it's not so hard to crack down, please stop making the headlines and get the work done. Thank you. That's all I have to say for him.
I agree with 101%. I mean, you already know we have these things on ground. What you are supposed to do is to look for better means. That's why we have, a lot of people learning, all of this cyber security and all. You're supposed to have people like that. You are supposed to be working technology-wise and not complaining that this particular technology is helping, people do fraud and all of that. You're supposed to be at your game or up on the game. I really don't know what it is, but yeah, get it done, please.
Those bits is like getting on, please. Don't waste my time.
Straight
up. When you're telling your child that go and clean those dishes.
No, it's not like that.
That's when you sound like get it done. Don't waste my time. Anyways, The Guardian also had some stories. The headline reads, Elderly Care, Emerging Boom in Home Services, Costly Substitute for Ailing Hospitals. Another story here reads, Security Operatives Killed, Other Missing in First Benue Attack. It's quite sad that Benue is still experiencing quite a number of attacks, even after the president had stated that he has sent security operatives to, these areas. We also have another story here that says ECOWAS court rejects bid to overturn $10,000 judgment against Nigeria. On the Lagos local government polls, APC opposition parties bicker over exercise, and Igodalo accepts Supreme Court's verdict, decries robbery, betrayal of Edo People's Trust. And I think I saw this story making headlines this morning, how the president and every other person was congratulating Okpebolo for his successful victory over the Supreme Court verdict. We also have ADC coalition faces uphill tax to unseat Tinubu, says presidency body judge. Another story here reads, Federal government shrug off U.S. pressure to accept foreign prisoners and deportees. INEC deploys online party registration portal as applications hit 129. The last but not the least story here says 210 trillion naira probe. Senate berates NNPC help boss for defiance, issues ultimatum. Why there's quite a number of things to discuss here is basically, for me, will be this emerging boom in home care services. I like that home care services is now becoming a thing in Nigeria, especially when it has to do with the fact that most people have to leave their elderly ones at the hospital and they pay over and over again. And it's not necessarily special care, it's just going to be medical care. But now home services have now come with special care, aftercare services before, when they get in, medicals, all of these things, just like the way they do abroad where they have special care homes. I like that Nigeria is now taking that initiative to, start increasing their investment in home care services. And this idea of deportees, I don't know. I don't think that US do not see that we're enough. You not see that we are plenty. We are still trying to manage over 200 million people. You say we should accept deportee. I know that there might be a reason why they were saying that we should accept the Venezuelan deportees, but I just feel like, as it is, Nigeria has a lot of problems on its own. If they accept them, to where? Which state? Which country? Do you want to accept the deportees and take them to Benue State where there's fresh attack every day? What are the bases of bringing these deportees into Nigeria? Of what economic benefits? Of what are you going to put them into the system that's actually going to not cause harm to Nigeria? So I like the fact that they said that that pressure that they were mounting on them, they are not going into that. They are not falling for that pressure. US, just know that we are plenty. Donald Trump, hold on to your people. Stay with them. Don't stress us. But basically, that's all I saw on the Guardian newspaper that sort of caught my attention. I would have loved to talk about the local government polls, but I hope that a lot of people in Lagos who have their PVC will go and vote tomorrow. Please vote tomorrow. Stay and ensure that your vote is protected in any means possible. Oluchi, do you have anything to say before we wrap up for today's news?
Nothing else. Nothing else. Just, I think that deportation story is quite hilarious as well. If only he knows how much of the people here want to
What's
leave.
the wrong? Exactly.
And then they are bringing people in.
It's quite hilarious, but thank you, sir, for the recommendation.
At least he has to be seen as a certain way for him to make that kind of.
No, I don't think he sees us in a good light, because why will you deport somebody and you don't want to keep them in your own, or you take them back to where they are coming from? Is Nigeria? He's not seeing us in a good light.
Really?
I see it as you are saying that Nigeria is a dumping ground for wherever you don't want. So take your deportees back. Anyways, this morning, join us as we discuss the new norm in Nigeria. How have Nigerians been coping with the economic challenges that's been grappling our country? We'll be taking your questions and comments live on all our social media platforms. So be sure to join this conversation. We'll be right back after this break. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back to the show. Today, as I said, we'll be discussing quite an important and realistic topic, the new normal. What's the new norm for Nigeria? We're basically all living the new norm now, where Nigerians are now starting to adapt to economic realities. But we want to start to discuss it. It's a common thing where they say that Nigerians like to laugh through issues and problems. We were, for some reasons, the happiest country in the world as at 2010, 2006, but now, in 2025, they've rated us to about 142 of the happiest country in the world. That statistics was quite sad to see, but the economic landscape in Nigeria has been undergoing significant changes, and citizens are having to adapt to the new realities. From rising inflation to currency fluctuations, Nigerians are facing numerous challenges in their daily lives. The impact of these economic policies on ordinary Nigerians has been tough. Economic policies such as inflation control measures and currency fluctuations, has significantly impacted negatively on ordinary Nigerians. Rising inflation has reduced purchasing power, making it difficult for people to afford basic necessities. Currency fluctuations affect the cost of imports, leading to higher prices for goods and services. Many Nigerians struggle to make ends meet, and these economic challenges disproportionately affect vulnerable populations. Some of the recommendations that I will see that the government should start taking note of, and some of the initiatives I think that they can do to support economic development, would want to start with to also first alleviate poverty. How can we invest in infrastructure such as road, bridges, and power supply to improve business operations and competitiveness? It's very sad to see that every time we have issues of no power supply, so you have to rely on generator. The cost of petrol is not funny either. Yeah. Sometimes the road for people who even transport food, look at cases like Benue, where insecurity is very huge. Farmlands are already tampered with. To now move that farmland from cultivating to Lagos, to all of the states that require this food to survive, it has now become a problem. So I think that some of the recommendations that I'll give to the government is they should invest in infrastructure. It's beyond them talking about it. Everybody's manifesto is like, we will invest in infrastructure. I like using this hand because you will see.
That's what they do now.
We will invest in infrastructure. If they don't do this hand, we will, because Nigeria deserves.
Yes.
So this deserve that Nigeria deserves. Please let it start to come to life, where things like road or infrastructures like road, bridges, and power supply can or should be implemented to improve operations and competitiveness amongst people. If we can also provide incentives for small businesses, like the Tinubu administration came up with tax breaks for people. We saw the removal of subsidy, but because there was no cushion effect after the subsidy removal, subsidies have now become one of the issues that we're having rather than solutions, now looking more like issues. So maybe subsidies that will come forward, because I think Nigerians know about full subsidy, but they don't know that there are many other things that for some reason Nigeria is subsidizing. So if we can have subsidies that can be removed with a cushion effect that actually settles Nigerians, I think that would make a lot of sense. And then access to affordable credit. I've seen loan apps. If you borrow 5,000, you pay 7-8. I don't know how that makes sense.
In 3 days.
Yes,
or 2 days.
in 2 days or 3 days. And I don't know how that makes sense because of the percentage, daily percentage or daily increase. I always tell to a lot of people that I know that please stay away from loan. If no matter what happens, just stay away from loan. Why some loans are very good for like economic development or in that sense business development. You see all those small loans that you think that okay, let me quickly use it to enter transport and go somewhere. Someone builds and then you start seeing that your life is surrounded around that loan. You cannot afford to do something for yourself. And I know that it relates more to the cost of living in Nigeria, but if you really can, please avoid it. Policies that promote economic stability is one of the recommendations that I personally will give the government. But beyond all of these things, the support of entrepreneurship is something that I've not seen common. It's almost like individuals, like independent individuals, like the Tony Elumelu Foundation is the one that is going so hard on entrepreneurship. I've seen other governmental entrepreneurship programs, but the ones that have made the most impact that I've seen are these independent individuals coming up to support entrepreneurs, to promote innovation and all of that. So I think that one of the things that the government should do is to invest, especially in entrepreneurship and innovation for people. But amidst all of this English, because English is both sweet and bitter at the same time, I want to start asking the real questions. Let me start first with God's Beauty before I ask Oluchi, because I know that Oluchi will have a lot to say. Looking that she's not even here. The fact that she's not here, I'm sure she will have a lot to say. But I want to start with you, God's Beauty. Okay. Have you been coping? Talking about the new norm for Nigerians and the new harsh realities that we're facing. Have you been coping? And I need you to be as honest as possible.
We've been coping, guys. I mean, a lot of us, what's that word now? They say we've been existing, we've not been living. I don't know which is which now. But honestly speaking, it has been a lot. It has been crazy. Permit me to use that word. I mean, for every time you actually think, I think it was a Gossip Gala one time like that, and I said, since the beginning of this year, I've been telling myself I want to get a pizza. Guess what? Till this month, we never buy the pizza. I'm not joking. You know how you would actually look at the salary, look at every other thing that's coming. I mean, thank God for life and for increasement in that sense. So for every time almost every month there's a reason why I'm having an extra money than the normal 9-to-5 salary, right? And for everything I'm looking at, I'm like, wow. God's grace. Don't worry, we'll calculate it, we'll do this one, we'll do like this. Money for pizza go day. Trust me. By the time we get the money and the extras, well, after you've paid all the things that needs to be paid, is either something comes up from the house, or you look at it and say, oh, there's this event that would need this particular outfit. Oh, pizza.
Oh, there's this connection you need to make.
Do you understand? For every time, there's always a reason why I have to just postpone the pizza. Like, don't worry, buy it next
This
month.
thing just reminded me of when there's this, this write-up that is usually online where they will say save money, eat 3 times daily, and then the person will use Biro to cancel that money and say save myself.
Do you understand?
Then eat 3 times a week, just eat to survive. Like that thing where you have to cancel. That's your
exactly.
This year, January, we're talking about planning, all of that
You
stuff,
get it.
affirmations, and the middle of the year, now that it's July, you'll be like, this
What's going
affirmation
on?
is not affirming. Let me just survive through the year and then just get it over with. But Oluchi, I want to also hear from you. How have you been coping? How are you coping?
Surprisingly well.
Okay.
I've been coping surprisingly well because if I really look at the reality of things and maybe what I earn and, how things happen, I'm surprised that at least I still get to eat in a day when I'm not fasting. I still get to probably pay some bills here and there. There's this, let me tell you this thing about humans, where we complain, of course, because the complaints are legit and they are valid. And, after the complaints, you just find yourself still doing it. So I was complaining to Chinelo earlier this week that I went to make my hair in a particular salon and it was quite pricey. And after making the hair, I felt very cranky. But I had paid the money. So the funny thing is, I've seen that reoccurrence a lot of times. Like I go to the mall to get something, or a supermarket, or even just a random seller in my neighborhood, and I'm hearing the price, and I'm like, what's happening now? Even with transport, I'm like, why did they increase them? But as I'm saying it, I'm also bringing out the money from the purse, and I'm paying for it, and it has been happening that way. So I think that is survival, and it has been happening surprisingly well. Yeah, there's the complaint, there's the harsh part of it, there's the overwhelming nature of it, but I've been able to abase and abound. I think that's one thing I have lived with ever since I was a little girl, knowing how to abase and abound. When there's plenty, we enjoy. When there's no plenty, we go through it, hoping that the plenty will come back. So I think surprisingly well. I've had times that I crashed where I had to cry, and Kiki can relate. I think Kiki is someone that has seen my tears, sadly. But I mean, to other family members or very close friends of mine, I've had times I crashed and I was crying. Not because probably I wanted, some sort of relief from them, but I felt like, whoa, this hard get stuff. You don't really pay. Let me behave like a human at some point. But in conclusion, I would really say surprisingly well. God has been good because I'm not going to take away my faith from the whole survival stuff. I mean, every time it becomes very critical and terrible, like, what are we going to do the next day? God always comes through for us. So yes, surprisingly well again, ending on that note.
Wonderful. So who is going to ask me how I've been coping?
How have you been coping, my love? Do you need tissue? This girl.
He's giving God a beg. He's giving, when you shout, Shefek Pami. I'm saying this because, as Oluchi said, is surprisingly well, because it's been a lot.
Roller coaster.
For someone like me, I live many lives, from NGO to family life to having to just be present in the lives of, my family and friends, to starting a new business, thinking about another new venture, trying to exist in the one that you currently are, trying to focus on your job. So it's just like I'm living one life here, I'm living the other life here, I'm living another life here, and you have to just somewhat manage yourself. You have to be present there when means that cost must cost in any way possible. And the places where is your presence that is needed to, you sort of have to be present there, even if that will also cost money. So let me just say that I've been coping surprisingly well. God has been really, really good. From family and friends who have supported me one way or another, strangers that I've met randomly, recommendations, referrals. So let me say that on the lighter note, I've been coping, but God, I beg, just help Nigeria through the president at this point, because if we Nigerians really pray about help, God help me, God help me, God help me. But I believe that if he helps us through some of the reforms and the policies that we need, things will naturally become easy for us and our prayers will ease down. You know that thing that they say when you go abroad, there's some prayers that you used to pray in Nigeria that will no longer exist.
Exactly.
Because there you are seeing these things happening. I think there was one time I was talking about sanitary pad, and I was talking about expensive sanitary pad is in Nigeria. And somebody was just telling me sanitary pad that people are picking for free abroad, that's almost cost-free. So why do we have to buy sanitary pad for such an expensive, amount here in Nigeria? And I was like, nah, my brother, we go buy them. I mean, what would we do? So I think that I'll say that I've been coping fine, and then to God be the glory. Life is still lifing. But talking about presence, I think I have already mentioned how I've tried to be present in everybody's life, in places where I feel like I couldn't do it physically or with cash. I've tried to do it maybe over text and then explain my situation. As somebody that doesn't like to complain, it's somewhat hard for me to do it. So I always try to struggle and be present either way so that I can mask whatever it is that is happening to me. But over time, I've been trying to see how I can be vulnerable as time moves on, express myself. So if I'm going to ask you, have you been present? I mean, amidst all of these personal challenges that you might be facing, have you been present in every other person's life?
I feel like it has actually been a lot, right? Because there are times where I just want to be on my own. There are times where I feel like, let me just be in my space. I want to just, not exist anymore, probably just do my thing myself. But then I feel like that mindset of you also need people to, continue the journey with you. I think has always been what has just kept me. Do you understand? So for every time where I just feel probably overwhelmed or I feel confused and I feel like probably reading the Bible is not helping us at that time, or trying to, use music to just take away the problem or whatever is not working, I just speak to people about it. People I know I can actually speak to. Do you get? So I feel like one way I've just been able to, navigate or still be present, around people is first of understanding that I actually need people to be able to be okay sometimes. Do you get? So I think that's what has actually just helped me. The intentionality of, having to be present when I am there, not being there and still, being occupied with other things. Yeah. So when I am there, I show it that, I am here, this is me, this is, I think that's literally
that's another beautiful angle to it. I would love to hear from Oluchi, but we need to go on a short break and then we'll return hearing Oluchi's side of the story. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. So, Oluchi, can you tell us, how have you been present in the lives of, or have you been present in your own life, in the life of people, even looking at all of the challenges facing Nigerians today?
All right. Yeah, thank you so much again for having to speak. I'm feeling like a guest. Anyways, having to be present, I think I firstly don't even have a problem being vulnerable with people. I think it's a very easy thing, especially if I know that you are my person, you are in my circle always. I don't have a problem opening up. I mean, the necessary ones, to talk to people about certain things. The only thing I want to really improve on, really, is now reciprocating that energy, like that is being present for other people. Because the truth is, as much as we clamor, I mean, from an individual point that I'm going through this, I'm going through that, people are also going through the same things. And sometimes it looks a bit worse. So how can I then be present for them? And I'm not talking of people in a very abstract way. I'm talking of people in my own circle too, which includes my family members, my friends, my siblings, my two brothers, my church friends, and everyone around me, basically, that will always even lend their ear when I'm going through my own stuff. So how do I become present for them? By firstly, not trying to bond with them on a problem basis, because that's what we do as humans. So somebody comes up to you and tell you, oh my God, I'm going through this. And you feel like the best way to bond with this person or show empathy is by telling them, me too, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. It seems okay from the face value, but it takes the attention away from them, because sometimes people just want to be listened to. They want to know that somebody is just paying attention to what they have to say without necessarily imputing their own. And I think I have that because I talk quite a lot. So I always have stories that can back up what you're saying. And I've taken the attention from that person. And that's not being present. Because if someone comes to me to be vulnerable and tell me about how they're feeling, it's just okay that I at least listen. We say that in this world, or in this part of the world that we're in, people don't listen a lot. Everybody just listens to respond. Oh, you're going through this. Oh, mommy too. If you know what, in fact, if you know what my uncle, sister, brother, friend.
And then you take the
all of
story
that.
of the person.
Exactly. And that's not being present at all. So what I want to work on, I'm not saying this from an expert point of view, but relating it to what I feel is probably a fault on my own end, based on my own personality, as someone that always want to talk and relate. But I think I want to be present to just even listen to people, hear what they have to say from beginning to end. And ask them if they really need your advice before you go about telling them, you see, this one will work, this one won't work. So basically, I really want to be present, as the word says, as the word implies, being present in caps.
In caps, yes, absolutely. So let's quickly talk about businesses. I think almost every Nigerian have one side hustle or the other, and side hustle doesn't necessarily mean you're selling cap, you're selling clothes, you're selling. It could be just like God's Beauty does script writing and all of these things aside this 9 to 5. How do you think that individuals or businesses can now start to, adapt to this changing economic landscape? I know one very common thing in Nigeria is that things go up, they never come down. So if you used to enter a bus for 15 naira before, forget about it. That 15 naira will never come back. The least is that you can fight and you say, it's 100 naira I'll give you, maybe when it became 150 and then you're now struggling for 100 naira. But for it to ever go back to that same amount, it never does. So how do you think that businesses and individuals who have, other side gigs can adapt to this?
So I think first off is actually looking at the market, what sells, how can you actually even sell your, your particular skill or whatever. I mean, for me, it has always been intentional to me. The intentionality of making money. I love money so much. I want to make money. Do you understand? So I think that's one of the reasons why I literally went into script writing. I said that before. So, one of the ways, or one of the things I'm actually doing right now as a script writer is sending out proposals to, top, Nollywood producers and all. Some have reached back, some haven't. But then there's that part where I'm speaking to that. Some I've sent my story, synopsis, everything. Very beautiful one, showing them that, this is something that we can do, right? Looking at, the cost of, how much they would have to spend to bring a particular story to life. All of these things are part of the ways that I think, I've been able to just make funds, even regardless of what's going on in the economy. So I think for me, it's intentionality, that's one. Ensuring that whatever you're doing is what it's selling. I've always said that we should always work with time. Do you understand? And that's why I concur with you when we're talking about that particular story where you're complaining about, what's the name now? Cryptocurrency, when it's here to stay. How exactly are you complaining about something that's already here to stay when you're supposed to be looking at what exactly you should do better to, be on top of your game? You get. So I think that every business right now should understand that you need to go digital. So if you're not digital, then I don't understand what exactly you are doing and how exactly you intend to make more money. Except, of course, you're okay where you are. Because I've also come to understand that there are people that are okay where they are.
I love God's Beauty's conversation sometimes, or a comment sometimes when she's saying that, so I don't even know what you are doing. It's like those Nigerian mothers where they'll be advising you, but they'll be telling you, I don't even exactly know what you are doing with your life.
No.
But this is so like, if you are not on the digital space, I really don't know what you are doing. Unless you are comfortable, and that is telling you that you are not. I am telling you you're not comfortable. I'm not going to tell you that you're not comfortable.
Exactly.
Quickly, Oluchi, how do you think that individuals and businesses can manage through or thrive through this current issue?
Yeah, beautiful. Let me even speak to young people, at least as a young person that I am, who probably have businesses. I think this is the time where you should embrace a lot of diversities in that sense. There's no point being a young person in your 20s and your 30s and you want to box yourself in a particular space. I think the great thing about being young and having age on your side is that you have that time, to really explore different things, check out more of your personalities that you do not even know, and see how it can even, probably create a career path that will become profitable in the future. So I think at this point, there's just, I think firstly is even getting the knowledge of certain things. There are a lot of information online that people are not privy to. I remember in 300 level, I had two classmates of mine, or sorry, two roommates of mine, who after the ASU strike came back into the room, and these guys were ballers. They were earning in dollars. They are not doing yahoo yahoo or any very strange thing. They just heard this information of a particular training going on Facebook, pardon me, going on Facebook, and then they enrolled in it. I think some of them had to do with bookkeeping, but some new skills that they had to learn on the go. Do you understand? A lot of bookkeeping processes and so many tasking processes, and they engaged in it, and they were earning in dollars. So they were doing this while schooling, and they even graduated with first class, so they were not dollars in that sense. I said dollars and dollars. Interesting. So the point is, they were open to information, to learning stuff, to increasing their source of income. Now, it doesn't mean that whatever passion they had before, maybe to be a creative director somewhere or to be a musician, cannot come to fruition, but at least they will have the funds to sponsor that dream. So I think young people should be open to learning. I mean, and I'm saying this because I'm also open. There are opportunities, there are some very awesome freelance engagement that people can engage in at this point, earn in foreign currencies, and be able to support whatever you are even doing in the interim as you are building. So this is not even the time to complain. We have seen it clearly that our governments are doing what they think they can do. And this is when you take
Absolutely.
matters into your own hands. Can you hear me?
Yes, of
Yes,
course
we
we can.
can.
Yes, this is when you take matters into your own hands and think of how to increase your sources of income. Ask people. Young people feel, I don't know whether there's this prideful attitude we have. Somebody that is earning well, and it's a legit one. It's not yahoo yahoo. Ask them, what skill did you learn to get this? Something like, no, 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 I don't want to get away from my passion. It is this one that I love. Well, you can still do both of them together. You can multitask at this point, because desperate times calls for desperate measures. You really need to get
I
your
even think that new
ground.
initiatives can develop from learning from somebody else. Sometimes I don't think that just because you're a doctor and you see somebody thriving in content creation, you now feel like, oh, it's not my passion, it's not my thing. How about putting those things,
Very
two
true.
things together, and then starting to give information about the medical profession, digitally. So sometimes it doesn't really take you off completely. You might maybe be able to find a way to blend it in, and that makes sense to me. But Oluchi said very key things that I think that I will also agree to, that from now henceforth, even as we wrap up the show, people need to be financially, literate at this point. And then you have to, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So
Yeah.
planning to navigate these whole economic uncertainties is one of the best ways that you can become whatever it is that you want to become in life. Entrepreneurship is something that everybody is doing in one way or another. So let's maybe plan better, be financially literate, be conscious that Nigeria is at a phase where it's going through a lot. Let's make sure that we are, present, and we can, find breakthrough in that sense in all of the things that we do. So I'm very grateful that we had this conversation, and of course I'm always going to be thankful to Oluchi and God's Beauty for all their insightful conversations and contributions to all that we do. And to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us on this critical and important conversation. Do ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Interact with us. We'll see you again next week with another amazing week of topics. Bye-bye.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Prime Time. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?